versus what you don't.
Oh, I've already been there.
Yeah,
listen, that is like the foundation of the Triple P series.
Fact.
I've already been there.
Who got the plane?
Oh, my bad.
That's all good, brother. I just want you back at the airport. You going back to Dallas?
Listen. You know I'm near. I'm near the Air Force Base on one end, and on the other end is 1600 Pennsylvania Ave. So.
So Torian be on his roof looking at Biden.
You out this way. You out here by me.
Yeah, I'm in PG County.
Oh, I'm in here in Baltimore.
Okay. I kind of figured that you were because I heard you say two and ooh, and I knew that's
true.
That's all the harbor place behind me right there.
One flew over the cuckoo's nest.
That's hilarious.
But let me tell y'all something. You Cannon and Torian, y'all Maryland girls, y'all, they accent got me in a chokehold, bro.
Word.
I love their accent. I don't know what it is, bro.
Well, hold
on. That two mixed with that southern?
Yeah,
I don't know. Lord have mercy.
Because the DMV accent is different from Baltimore. Like I used to troll Torian in his comment section before we even got to know each other. Like, bro, you be calling people Bamas, don't you? You know what I'm saying?
Not like I used to. Like back then.
Oh my God.
That's all. Listen, like back then when we was like in my high school days, like in the early 2000s, you always heard someone calling somebody a Bama.
Yeah, somebody was a Bama. Now they be like Young or Mo.
Oh shit! Here we go. Wait a minute, family. Wait a minute. Here we go.
Or Slim.
Pastor Doctor or Dr. Pastor. I don't know how you say it. How y'all say it?
What's going on, Pastor?
How you doing?
Pastor Scott.
Pastor Scott. How are you, sir?
Good, man. Good.
Yeah. Before we start, thank you for putting Dinesh in his place. I like that. I was laughing at your tweets all yesterday. I was like, this man hitting this man with facts that he just trying to explain. I don't understand.
Let me set this up better. Hold on.
Yes, sir.
Give me 2 seconds.
Yes, sir. Take your time.
Now, I was on earlier.
Yeah, you were lurking.
Yeah, I was lurking.
Yeah.
Checking it out. See what's up.
Yes, sir.
Right, that better?
Yes, that's perfect. Hey, as long as we can hear you, it's all good. But go ahead, you tell your story. You know what? Matter of fact, I'm gonna blow you up so you can tell the story. Let me see how I forgot how to do that though. You know what?
I think you took his face in his solo.
Yeah, we do it like that. There you go. So everybody see it.
I'm good. I don't need all that other stuff.
Nah, it's cool. I mean, we was talking about Matt Walsh, but he irrelevant right now.
Let me get the toothpick out of my mouth.
My man. All right, go ahead. Set it up how this exchange happened.
I mean, not really. I mean, I saw it like you saw it. I mean, man, who the hell you think you are saying some stuff like that? You just come right back out there and basically say blacks the dumbest people on earth, and I'm supposed to stand next to that stuff? Now, I don't know about anybody else. I don't know about anybody else that can just sit there and be associated with something like that, but I ain't the one. I can't do it. I can't hold my peace. I'm the Negro that got to speak up.
There's a lot of people that just sit there associated with it, a lot of them. And they even back it up and make videos to substantiate a lot of the nonsensical claims.
Let me tell you something, man. I don't care what public opinion says, what social media says. I was like that for 4 years in the White House. The entire Trump administration, I was the loud black dude up there that didn't mind speaking up and saying anything I wanted to say. And it isn't anybody that's associated would tell you that. Wasn't nobody up there tap dancing, buck dancing, shining shoes, and nothing else. I said a lot of stuff that other people didn't even want to stand next to me because I was saying it. I remember I went to the RNC and talked to the heads of the RNC at that time. I'm talking about the very heads. First of all, we walked in the door of the RNC, myself and my business partner, Kareem. And we noticed that all the way up, we went up 4 floors, all the way up in all the hallways were pictures and pictures and pictures. And the first thing we said was, hey man, why ain't no black people up on this wall? Why are these walls? I don't see not one single black Republican on these walls. Where's Herman Cain at? Where's Michael Steele at? All I see is white folks on these walls. We went upstairs and I told them then, and you might have seen the effects, but not knowing why. I say, hey man, all that old black people on the plantation crap, y'all gonna have to freeze that lingo. I said, because I'm not down with that. I said, let me tell you something. If you say anything about a Jewish person with a concentration camp, you're accused of anti-Semitism. I said, but let me tell you something. Racism was our Holocaust, and the plantation was our concentration camp. So all this old, just because we don't agree politically, that they're on some plantation, on some plantation and slaves, I'm not down with that. And y'all need to freeze that stuff. Don't be saying that stuff. And to their credit, the RNC didn't say it. I really only heard black people saying it. Blacks on the right. I didn't hear no white people on the right saying that. But I went up there and made sure I checked them. I said, hey, man, I'm not standing next to that crap. And if one of y'all say it, I'm coming for you. That's all. And I'm telling you, the First Step Act, I contributed 27 pages to the First Step Act. I looked Jeff Sessions in his face and pointed my finger in his chest and said, man, you're going to have to pass that legislation. You can go online and Google how I called Mitch McConnell up and said, if you don't take that First Step Back to the floor, I'm going to come up there with 500 angry niggas and we're going to tear your doggone office up. You can Google it. It's on there. And so anybody that accuses me of being a Tom or anything like that, you got to understand, I was down with Trump. I've been knowing Trump 12 or 13 years. He and I have been friends. He was going to run in 2012. I was with him then. And I was rolling with him, ride or die. If he lose, we ride off in the sunset. He won. What you want us to do? We ain't giving it back. We ain't apologizing. And so, but as far as all that old, I don't have to be like that with him. And I'm not being like that with nobody else. I'm blunt. I talk, I speak my mind. And I've always been like that. And I sure ain't gonna stand up there and let Dinesh get away with saying that stuff. And I don't say anything about it. I don't care who else doesn't respond. I'm responding.
So here's my question. Where does somebody like a Dinesh get those kind of talking points from if he shares similar political ideologies and similar worldview to people that consider themselves conservative? Because there's a diverse spectrum of people who are conservative, but what you see is a pervasive spreading and an enlarging of people that talk like D'Souza. So my question would be how, like you said, how do people stand next to people like that? Us up here, we're people that have, for the most part, never stood next to people like that. So, well,
you gotta understand. Well, as you can see, I'm not standing next to a person like that. Here's the thing: I've been pastoring my church for 30 years. I'm conservative by nature, and so it's the platform. And Black people are conservative by nature, and so as far as me connecting to a platform that espouses what I think are conservative values, that's the reason I'm there. Because as a pastor, as a Christian pastor, no, I don't believe in abortion. No, I believe homosexuality is a sin. I believe in a lot of things that the conservative platform believes in, regardless of the people that are on the platform. And so that's my take. But when they come out with some nonsense like this, and here's the thing, you hear these talking points by some of these guys out there, well, that are racist. A guy like a Charlie Kirk. Now, you know, they want to. I'll say this much. Mm-hmm. One time I was at the White House with my business partner, and Charlie Kirk said something sideways in the White House, and my business partner said to him, "I will slap the shit out of you, white boy. You say something like."
Wait, you said that in the White House?
Bro, I stand by that because that's right.
They're getting that.
You said that, bro.
Yeah. Just think about it. Think about what Pastor Scott's saying, right?
Knows we not like that. And so, and, you know, the people that know me to this is not astonishing behavior, because I talk like this at home. I talk like that at the White House. And he said something sideways one time.
I just looked up thing you said about McConnell, and it was actually true, family. He did tell him get off his ass. I was like, you might be the bravest black man that ever came through Washington like that.
Here
we don't know how much power McConnell got.
Here goes my question for you, Pastor.
I said on video to Tom Cotton when they were opposing the First Step Back. I said, man, you act like it's gonna be a bunch of black folks running up and down the street, running amok, terrorizing you white folks. I ain't never been bashful about black-white issues for the entire from 2016 on up. I've never been bashful. It's just people want to associate and say anybody that's rolling with Trump is a coon. And so, you know, you can't fight. Everybody that says that after a while, I'm like, hey, long as I can be true to myself and know that I'm up here trying to advocate for black folks, whether my black people acknowledge it or not, it is what it is. Because here's the thing, and this is something I said to a lot of critics. If If you go down all my tweets, you'll see this ain't nothing new for me. I said, here's the problem. If a black person feels that they've suffered injustice and they need national attention brought to their situation, who on the right can they call? Nobody. There are no black advocates on the right. So don't try to criticize Al Sharpton to me or Ben Crump to me or any of the others, because if somebody has done me wrong, I'm not going to, whoever wants to help me, I'm taking the help. Do you get the point I'm saying?
Well, this is my question to what you're saying. Like, I agree with everything that you're saying. But my question is, as you're seeing, there's a lot of ideological differences between quote unquote person who's black and conservative versus what we see as white conservatism. So don't you think that it would be more effective of a strategy and a more effective idea for somebody like you who has the roots in politics and the access to a lot of these things to create a specific black grassroots conservatism that's designed specifically for how black people live their lives conservatively? Because like you said, there's not going to ever be any advocacy on the white side of conservatism for black people. It's just never going to happen. It hasn't up until this point in history, and it won't at all. But if somebody like you who has experience in that area and the reach would be able to build something like that people could get behind, I think that would actually be a more effective way to get a lot of black people to actually be able to express themselves in a conservative way, the way that we naturally are. And it would be something specific for us that would be able to put us in that political right area of being on the right side of the spectrum, but also having our own specific conservative spokesperson in presence. You see what I'm saying?
I see exactly what you're saying, and I agree with you. Years ago, I had a conversation with Londell McMillan. Do you know who Londell McMillan is?
No, I don't.
He's one of the top black entertainment lawyers in the country. He represents Jay-Z, he represents a lot of those guys. He's part owner of the Brooklyn Nets. He was the editor of Source magazine.
Okay.
And he said something years ago that I thought was very powerful. He said, black people, we need to form our own political party and use it to leverage policy and not just give our vote to either Democrats or Republicans. Now, here's the thing. People don't know about me. I've got awards. I've even posted some on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. I've got awards from the NAACP. I've got awards from the SCLC. I can post pictures of Barack Obama at my church in my pulpit. So I've been active politically for a long time on both sides of the spectrum, because I've been the type of person to vote the person and not the party. But what's happening now, if I did engage to do something, there are so many people that want to call names and say he's a coon, he's a sellout, he's this and that don't know me, that they'll automatically be opposed to me regardless. They can't hear what I'm saying or even look at it without trying to sling insults and stuff.
I think, Pastor, that you might kind of be getting a bad perception of how a lot of black grassroots people are. Like, I do agree that there will be a lot of people that just try to shout you down based on associations and different things like that. But there's a lot of I would say that there's a majority of open-minded people who would actually be open to and welcoming to hear something that somebody like you would have to say and exchange ideas and have, a respectful conversation. Like Kid Gravity does this all the time. I think that the most important thing is what you said, to get people to understand the necessity of voting for policy specifically, and somebody that's been in those arenas. I think that I think people will be open to listen to you.
I took Jim Brown. I introduced Jim Brown to Donald Trump. The reason I did it because I wanted to get support for Jim Brown's American program, because they were doing a lot to help the black community. And in fact, what people don't know is when I took Jim Brown up to Trump Tower to meet with Trump, Trump told him out of his mouth, he said, listen, we got $1 billion sitting around in HUD. I'll make sure that they give you some financial backing. Then he said to Jim, but if HUD doesn't do it, I'll write a check out my own pocket. Now, people don't know that, but what happens when Jim Brown and Ray Lewis came downstairs, all the black people called them coons.
I think, well, to touch on what Black Light said, I think the problem is
the great Jim Brown, who's been a civil rights activist since the 60s, an outspoken civil rights activist for black people. You call him a coon because he's meeting with the president of the United States about funding programs that could help black people?
Well, I'm gonna ask the same question that white people do. Were those Democratic shills? Because like anytime when white people are acting a fool when it comes to some conservative or some Republican, they're always like, oh, well, those are white liberals. You know what I'm saying? Because I guarantee you there was probably not very many actual quote unquote grassroots people that would make up the majority of people who were down there showcasing, calling Jim Brown a coon. I think if most people would be trying to get an autograph before anything.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
When I said they weren't in the lobby calling him a coon, they were in the country calling him a coon.
Oh, you mean like on social media and stuff like that?
Right.
Mark Lamont Hill, that little punk, Mark Lamont Hill called him a coon.
He's a Democrat shill, Mark Lamont Hill.
Yeah, we went to CNN, Jim and I did, and I saw Mark Lamont Hill in the hallway. And I said, man, what's up with you calling Jim Brown like who? And he punked out.
I bet he did.
Well, Pastor, let me ask this question then, because it's something that Black Light touched on, something that you touched on as well. You got to understand, I said 3 years ago during the 2020 election cycle, Black conservatives got to come talk to the Black grassroots, especially when Trump brought out the Platinum Plan. Even if we don't agree on everything in there, just the optics of people that are Black from different ideologies and different social leanings, that's a powerful statement. But a lot of them, not including you, but a lot of them didn't want to do that. And now Trump lost and they're like nomads with nowhere to go. So that's my biggest criticism with Black conservatives is they love parroting these white talking points, but they fail to realize that white conservatives and white liberals can interchange anytime. You just got to give them the correct issue. So how would you bridge that gap? Because for us to make sure we're secure, especially with reparations next year, because it's now in the lexicon, we may need a couple of them Black conservative voices that have big platforms to get on the pro-reparation train.
I took, over the 4 years Trump was in office, I took so many groups of Black people up there. And when I say groups of Black, I took barbers from the hood to the White House. I took Nino Brown. Y'all know Nino Brown. He's on social a lot. You know who Nino Brown is?
Yeah.
Nino Brown, I took him to the White House. I took groups of Democrat Black legislators to the White House. And I'm going to be honest, I had to take some of them off to the side and basically say, man, stop cooning up here. Stop. I'm being honest. I have to be honest. They would get up there and get scared, man. They would get back behind that iron gate, get past their Secret Service and find themselves in those doors and dread, fear and dread. And you know what they would say to me? Man, I can't believe you talking to these white folks up here like this. I cannot believe you talking. And I'll be like, man, and I didn't bring you up here for you to coon. I brought you up here for you to stand up and say the stuff that you say in the barbershop. Say it up here in their face. And my people would get up there and get scared, man. A lot of them got scared. I took a group of preachers there one time, right? And they were all Democrat preachers. I put them in a room with Trump. They let each one go around the room and say something. And I'm going to be honest.
I remember this.
I texted my friend while it was going on. And you know what I texted him and said? These dudes up here cooning hard. I texted him and said that, right? And so afterwards, it was over. Trump had to go. I went out the room and talked to him. I came back. I said, man, y'all missed a golden opportunity. I said, how? I said, y'all was so busy going around the room kissing his ass. Excuse my French. I said, you had him in the room on TV. You could have asked for anything you wanted, and he couldn't have said no. Y'all got the president of the United States right on the TV camera in his face. You could have said, well, my name is such and such, and I've got an outreach program for Blacks, and I need $1 million. He couldn't say no. And I bring y'all all up here to voice the stuff you say in private, and y'all all got up here and got chicken. I mean, I'm being honest. That's been my experience.
That was like February 2021, right?
You know what people don't know? You know what people don't know? Jesse Jackson probably called up to the White House once a week, talk to Trump. They've been friends for years. They're still friends. In fact, back in 2015, I've been knowing Jesse for years. You know what Jesse told me? Jesse said, you stick with him no matter what anybody says, because if he wins, we need somebody up there. Jesse told me that back in 2015. And he called and talked to him a lot because Jesse was instrumental in Rod Blagojevich getting that pardon. Jesse Jackson was the one that ran point on that. Al and talked to him a lot. I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. Al Sharpton, while you sit out there and tell him what tickets, him and Trump was still. Al Sharpton and I had a debate on television on MSNBC. I was with Trump that Friday in the Oval Office. I said, me and Al was on there having a debate. He said, what? I said, about you coming down to the Civil Rights Museum that they were dedicating down south. And Trump looked up and he said, me and Al have been friends for a long time. You know, he used to come around a lot, but he don't do it no more. But he and I have been friends for a long time. I'm waiting on him to bash Al. He didn't say one bad thing about it. All he said was, he and I have been friends for a long time. Puffy called him one time when he and I were in the car together. Puffy called. You know what Puffy told him? He said, man, the way you say African American sounds funny. But he told him, he said, you can't say black anymore. You got to say African American. I was in the car with him when Puff called him. All the guys that were his friends before, they're his friends now. I called Trump, when was this? A few months back. He was on the golf course with Lawrence Taylor and O.J. Anderson. And so they're on the golf course. He put me on the phone with LT. We're playing golf with him all the time. So afterwards, I was a little hot. I said, man, these guys know you ain't a racist. They've been golfing with you for years. Why don't they come out and say it? You know what Trump told me? He said, well, they need to protect their brand. And I understand. And see, that's the stuff. There's a lot of people out there in the streets that's raising hell. They don't know about that. Okay. So they'll go run with a narrative that people like me and others know is a false narrative. Marcus Allen called me. He said, man, I know Trump ain't no racist. I've been friends with him for years, but I can't go out there and say nothing because I don't want everybody pouncing on me.
Well, do you mind taking some questions before you go?
I'm here.
All right. I got one from JD Foreman. He said, can you get his thoughts on James Clyburn and the poverty issue in his district?
Well, I mean, we need the one thing we've been impressing upon Trump as far as his, and this is something was going to happen before COVID hit. My business partner and I were very much on him about economic empowerment for Black people. I was in a meeting with Jared Kushner, Trump, and some others, and they were going around, and I told him, I said, the Black community is the only race of people, the people that ain't Black think y'all know more about what we need than we do. Non-Blacks think y'all know more about the Black people, what they need. So they were in the room talking about school choice. They were in the room talking about this and that. I said, we want the same things white people want. And they said, what? I said, more money. We want. You give us the money, we'll be able to choose a school in a better neighborhood. You give us the money, we can fix what's broken in the Black community, because the majority of crime in the Black community are all financially based. Drug sales, financially based. Robbery, financially based. I said, if we have enough money, if we have the economic empowerment, we ain't got to rob nobody. We ain't got to sell no dope. I said, our crimes of passion are no more than any other race. But it's economic disadvantage that causes us to have the crime that we have. And so if we can solve those economic disadvantages, you can see a reduction in crime. And Trump agreed with it wholeheartedly. And we were going to roll out, that was part of his platinum plan and all that. But then you had all the ones that ran out, tried to bash it and whatever.
Yeah. All right. So the next one I got from Cordell Lewis said, how do all Black people get on code in one accord and get reparations?
I mean, that's not an easy one. I've said this, and I've said it on TV, on white TV. I said, listen, I haven't been one that has been outspoken about reparations, but if I get my check, I'm cashing it. I'm cashing my check.
So you're pro reparations.
I'll be standing at the bank first thing in the morning, direct deposit. I ain't even got to go to the bank. But now, here's one thing I told people, you know, they try to cop out with that. Well, none of us own slaves, and they want to confine reparations to slavery. But reparations aren't confined to slavery. There are a lot of after effects. Hey, man, let me tell you something. I'll be 65 years old this year. I grew up during the civil rights movement. I can still remember the day Martin Luther King got shot. I remember when that Malcolm X got shot. Heck, I remember when John F. Kennedy got shot. I grew up during the civil rights movement. It's the after effects that we need reparations for as well. We need reparations for the Jim Crow. We need reparations for the redlining. We need reparations for all of the jobs we didn't get because we were black. So it's more to it than just slavery. Slavery was just the beginning of the ride. It's all of the after effects after slavery. It wasn't like we got released from slavery and became equal American citizens. There was a lot. I mean, discrimination and segregation occurred during my lifetime. I can remember George Wallace on television in 1968, railing against black people and saying how he wanted to maintain segregation. So, you know, reparations is more than what they try to simplify it and make it a matter of, well, you got free from slavery. No, it's more to it than that. There's more to it than that. It's like a person beating you up and saying, well, they ain't beating you no more. Yeah, but I still hurt. My jaw got broke. My eyes permanently blind in one eye because there are a lot of after effects that accompany it that we do indeed need reparations for. Now, how they figure out the money part of it, hey, man, look, I'm cashing my check.
I think that one of the realities that people should start to explore is the fact that how you gave that what is that? The allegory, I want to say the allegory of the broken eye and the broken neck, all of the after effects. I think that that's the intended purpose. So those people, like, the thing is that we're in the state that we're supposed to be in. So it's up to us to identify that and figure out a way to force reparations on the United States. Because here's the thing. If somebody like Matt Walsh says, well, nobody alive today owned a slave. Yeah, the entity, the United States, is currently here today. You know what I'm saying? The United States legal system created something called corporations, which are artificial people. And the United States Corporation of America is still functioning today as a result of the economy that was created based on locking black people out of the economy with Jim Crow and black codes, as well as the agricultural economy that the South jump started. There is absolutely no way that anybody can disprove that. So my thing that we should do is, I think that we should never, ever care what any of these people in the population say, and start thinking of quote unquote different options if the government doesn't do what we need them to do, because history is on our side. We're 100% right about this. There's no doubt in anybody's mind that every single element of the case that we're bringing to the United States as far as their crimes against us is 110% correct and accurate as we present it. What we got to understand is that if we break the way that the system is, all of these people, white people, immigrants, all of these people that come in, they're all at a position where they could possibly lose something, because this system is based on us being at the bottom. So if we're ever able to be competitive, that's going to shake up the entire economy. You know what I'm saying? And that's something where people stand to lose.
And watch this. I like what that analogy that you did bring out when they said nobody alive owned slaves. Well, nobody alive started the KKK, but they want
right.
The Democratic Party started the KKK. But just like the KKK still exists today, the effects of slavery still exist
today. Facts. Absolutely.
So you can't say, well, none of us own slaves. Well, then none of these other ones started the Ku Klux Klan. Let's not do that. And if it was any other ethnic group, they would be talking about reparations. You know what it is? The Republican Party hates the Democratic Party so much that with blacks being supporters of the Democratic Party, they can mask their hate for Democrat or mask hate for blacks by saying it's because they're Democrats. Do you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
And you ain't gonna never see me. If you go back years, I fought for George Floyd. I advocated for George Floyd. I said he was done wrong. When you get them coons like Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum and all that. In fact, I checked her at the White House too. You know, me and her fell out. I checked her at the White House in front of the white folks. So about that nonsense she was talking about. But
let me shut up.
I went out there for George Floyd. I went out there for Ahmaud Arbery, and what happened to them was wrong. I said, you white folks sit up there and act like cow. Y'all. Nick Sandman got into a staring house with an Indian, a staring contest with an Indian, And y'all act like he was a victim. Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 people. Y'all act like he was a. Could you imagine if Kyle Rittenhouse was black?
Oh Lord, he be in jail right now.
Yeah, the judge wouldn't have been acting like his public defender.
Facts. He wouldn't have been behind the judge's seat looking at video.
There was a situation where a black man, I think it was in Florida, punched a white guy. I think he attacked him and called him the N-word at a Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. And the whole entire country was rallying for this black guy to go to jail. And this is coming straight out of the quote unquote stand your ground state.
Yeah, look at what happened with Ozone Wallace.
Yeah.
He defended himself, and now he looking at decades behind jail, and they keep moving his court date.
Facts. I think we lost a pastor.
He might have froze on him.
He froze down there looking like Pimp C from
damn, we lost him. I'm sure he'll come back. He got the link.
He might jump in, but he was right. Like as far as like the Charlie Kirk situation, like he's right. And I've been saying it. Hotels we call him Master Charlie. You know what I mean? Like that.
We just call him Charlie Cook over here.
Because that whole Democratic plantation that started with Turning Point USA.
He back and he put the glasses on.
Put the glasses on.
He put the glasses on.
What's going on up there? Hey man, I got 100 of these. I buy them from Walgreens. I got them all over the house. I'm like, what happened?
See, like to me, like it would. I think that you guys will have more product. Like this is just me. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that you all necessarily need to talk to the type of people like Charlie Kirk. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing is like Charlie Kirk, we're all people of the world. We know what's going on. We all know that Charlie Kirk is who he is and what he is, right? We're never going to make inroads with a person like that. I think that it would be a better strategy that people may want to consider, like Kid Gravity is saying, for conservative black people who have been immersed in the political realms to come and talk to grassroots people. Like I said, Hotep Jesus one time, he pulled up on one of my streams and we had a really good conversation. I'd have never thought I'd have had a good conversation with Hotep Jesus. I would have thought we've been trolling each other back and forth and talking crazy. It was a great conversation. And there was a Middle MAGA who came up on Kid Gravity's stream before. And, there was things that people disagreed with, but we had a good conversation. And the thing is that everybody left with the idea that we're going to check out some of the things that each other said. And I think that there would be more headway, more strength. And there's a lot of people that advocate for unity. I think one of the best ways for a first step in exemplatory unity to occur is for black conservatives, like real brothers, like Canon Hotep. You know what I'm saying? I could tell you a real brother, Pastor Scott. You know what I'm saying? Real people like us actually sitting down and having a conversation. It's like, yo, these people can do this. They can have a productive conversation. They can lay out a plan. They can lay out a 20-year strategy. You know what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of the things that we want now, because a lot of people are coming into a political consciousness, it's easy for everybody to just demand all of these things. But what a lot of people don't understand just coming into a political consciousness is that politics is a machine. You need think tanks, you need media, you need collaboration, you need businesses, you need lobbyists. And I think that once we start talking to people that are like you all, that'll be a lot more easily illustrated. You know what I mean? And with that illustration, now people will have a better schematic of what it is that we have to do. And with a better schematic, people will be able to be more focused. So maybe 5 to 10 years down the line, now we really doing our thing, voting on point. Now we got our businesses putting money behind politicians. You know what I'm saying? Doing that kind of thing. And I think that the disappointment, it'll come with a lot of the people that are not willing to put in a long-term investment, but I think there are a lot of us that are willing to put in a long-term investment. If I never see a penny of reparations, if I do something that moves towards my kids or my grandkids seeing reparations, I'm down for whatever that takes. You know what I'm saying?
I took a group of blacks up to the White House one time to have a sit down with Trump. There was about 8 of them. And one young lady in the room was very outspoken.
Oh, you talking about Sonny Johnson?
Huh?
You talking about Sonny Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
they're afraid of Sonny.
I took Sonny to that meeting. I took her up there that day. And Sonny got in the room and she went on a nice rant. And Trump said very profound, I think it went over her head. He said, I think you should run for office. And he was right, because a lot of the things she was ranting about was something the federal government couldn't provide. A lot of things black people want, we got to get it from state government and city government. The federal government can't provide that. She started talking about, we need generational wealth and we need this and that for blacks and this and that. And he was like, he couldn't think of nothing to say, but otherwise, other than, I think maybe you would be good to run for office. And that's where a lot of us miss it at. We want the federal government to give us things that should come from the state and the local governments. A lot of opportunities, the federal government is not involved in a lot of things like that. You have to get it from municipal governments, and we have that misnomer that we're not aware of that.
Yeah, and she talks about that a lot. Sonny, that's the big sis right there. She talks about that a lot, where things start at local government. We need to take control of our local government first. We need to back politicians that we want in our local government and put them in office. We need to bring our pool, like you're saying, Black Light. Like, we need to pool our resources and our money and fund our politicians that we want, so we can get what we need.
Right. That's what we're doing with Marcel Dixon right now. He's the start. We got to do that. And he's scared. He doesn't even get nearly as much funding as Clyburn gets, but they're scared of him in DC.
I was meeting with Republican leaders in Ohio a couple of years ago, and they were really trying to tout this John James dude out of Detroit and some others. And I said to him, hey, man, why y'all always keep trying to go get these old buttoned up black dudes that got the white wife and buttoned all up like they got a stick up there behind? Ain't no black people voting for them dudes just because they black, because they don't come across as being real. I said, we don't identify with them. And, he said something that was very eye-opening for me. You know what he said? He said, I'm sorry, but those are the kind we identify with.
See, there you go, right there.
Mm-hmm.
So once he said that, I said, well, I feel you on that. But here's the thing. We don't identify with those. A lot of times black conservatives get over to what we consider to be the other side. And I have to be honest, they get up there, man. I'm not going to get in the room with white folks and start trying to act white. I'm not doing that. And I see too many of my watch this. I'll give you an example. When I took Nino Brown to the White House with me, right? I took him in to meet with the comms department because I was trying to get him hooked up through the comms department that they would spend money with him. And Nino Brown started saying some things, and before he could talk, he started apologizing. I had him in front of Mercedes Schlapp. She was over the head of the comms, and he started apologizing for his lack of education. He was like, well, excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't have a vocabulary. I don't know the right way. And I kicked him under the table. And after we got outside, I said, nigga, I ain't asked you to get up there and start apologizing about what you ain't got.
Yeah, just talk. They're going to get the message as long as they hear what you're trying to convey to them. They'll get it.
Out towing and catering to white folks. I know who you are. I brought you up here to be you. I'm trying to get you plugged in, and I bring you up here to be you, and you immediately start getting docile and apologizing for what you thought was your lack of etiquette or polish or whatever. And I was disappointed. And I had that experience on a number of occasions with folks I tried to bring on board. I had a lot of other people call me that wanted to do some things, but they didn't want to put their name out there. That wanted me to get them in the room and all of that, but they want to come in the back door. And I say, man, you ain't treating us like no booty call. I ain't rolling. If I have me hooking you up in private and you can't stand next to me in public, I'm not doing that. We got ASAP Rocky out the joint. You see what he had? I can still pull the text up in my phone. ASAP Rocky, his mother, his manager, everybody. All we asked him was, man, if we get you out, all we asked you to do is say thank you in public. And the Negro never did. He never would say it. He never would do it. I can show you the text. In fact, we're not going to Google it. Just Google up Darrell.
We're going to keep that brother private. But Cordell, I don't know how long you've been here, brother, but I said this like 2 hours ago. We understand, and I've told black conservatives this, the white conservatives will never accept them. We understand that. That's why I said they need to come down, talk to the black grassroots, balance out the message.
Well, no,
they're not going to canvas. They're not going to come knock on the doors.
I'm gonna say this: we have a lot of black conservatives that reinforce negative stereotypes.
Right.
With pushback. I mean, look at how many of them quiet about Dinesh. They
even before you came on, I was looking on YouTube to see if anybody would have said something, because that was a big story that went viral. None of them have said nothing. Now ABL might say something today, but y'all should have said something that day. Y'all should have went live on that. But you'd have to have an uncomfortable conversation with your crowd, and you know what's going to happen.
Here's what messed up a lot of folks. For the first time in United States history, in these 2016 elections, you had white folks on the left, Democrats, calling other white folks racist. You ain't never seen that before. You have white folks calling white folks racist. And so what happens when the white folks and the Democratic white folks call the Republican white folks racist, and rather than examining themselves, you had the black ones jump up. Oh no, they're not. Everything they're saying is legitimate. So you'll get the Candace, and you'll get the Branham Tatum, and you'll get the Leo and them to stand up, and all they want to talk about is black on black crime. And they want to talk about Chicago. And they want to reinforce or even introduce negative stereotypes and perceptions about the black community that are not true.
Well, I agree. Would you agree that problem right there that you just talked about right there is the exact same thing that Nino Brown was doing when he's self-reinforcing the stereotypes? Yeah. So like the thing is that there's a pervasive, if you ask me, a pervasive cultural issue of people running to do that kind of thing instead of actually holding their ground and standing on what it is that they believe in and who they are. You see what I'm saying? If people are willing, if somebody is willing to do that on the right for a paycheck, or if you're willing to do that on the left because you just, for whatever reason, you just feel that you're so inferior, you have to apologize for simply being in a room and breathing the same oxygen as these people.
Thank you.
That's a cultural problem because it's going on across the board. It's going on all over the place. It's not just on the left. It's not just on the right. And the problem is that people on the left want to separate themselves from the right. But when you're in the same culture and you're sharing the culture and you're seeing the same behaviors taking place on both sides, that's a cultural problem. No one's standing their ground anywhere.
Because the white man water tastes better. You know what I mean? The white man water tastes better. That's how they look at it.
But here's the thing, though, brother. The white man's also poisoning his own water.
Right, but that's what I've been saying this before. I'm like, you got people like the Candace Owens and Brandon Tatums who they say what those red whites can't say. They use them to say what they can't say.
If you know what I mean? If you notice something, Trump don't fool with her much no more. I called him one time. He had retweeted something she said, and I called him. I said, man, you don't be standing next to that chick, man. I said, because the stuff that come out of her mouth, her proximity to you, it makes it like it's coming out your mouth too. And he said something that was right. He said, you're right. He said, but if I take it down, it'll cause more attention than me putting it up in the first place. So I'll just leave it alone. But if you notice, you don't fool with her no more. I told him, I said, man, you're guilty by osmosis, because anything she say, they think she got.
Who is this again?
With it.
Candace Owens.
The point.
Who don't fool with her?
I'm like
Trump.
Yeah.
I ain't on that. And if you know,
I got another question for you when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so this brother, I really respect him. He's a great Black Shark. He's on YouTube as well. I think YouTube could have a great conversation as well. But he asked, what difference do you think Black conservatives can make in a white-run party with no power to affect decision-making in it?
They can have a lot of power if they open up their mouth and don't get in there and sell out. Hey, man, let me tell you something. I took Ray J with me, and he has it on video. I took Ray J with me down to Mar-a-Lago, right? He has the video. He can show it. I took Ray J with me down to Mar-a-Lago, and Trump was going around the room acknowledging people. He acknowledged senators, he acknowledged politicians, he acknowledged this, acknowledged that, then he pointed to me. He said, that guy right there, that's my pastor. He said, and you know what? He's the most powerful person in this room. Now, that's what he said out of his mouth. In a room full of folks with me and Ray J and my business partner, maybe two other people, the only Black folks in there. Blew Ray J away. But if they open up their mouth and don't be afraid, they can get their point across. See, them folks know not to mess with me. I told a Black preacher one time, I say, man, here's the difference between me and you. You got on TV and got a few hits and you branded yourself as, I'm just a nice guy that want to get along with everybody. I branded myself as a hellraiser that'll let anything come out of his mouth. And as a result, they don't mess with me. and they listen when I talk. And if the black conservatives quit sucking up so much, they can get some positive things going. Because to be quite honest, the white conservatives on the Republican Party, they're not racist like that. They actually think they're right until somebody tells them that they're wrong. And then they say, well, what can we do to fix it? But if you got people behind them saying, yo, yeah, you is right. Yeah, you is right. Blacks is killing each other. Blacks do have a low IQ. Then they like, well, what the heck is the problem? I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know and what I see.
Now, here goes my question. Oh, go ahead, kid.
Real quick. This is why I separate them. That's why I call them the TV YouTube conservatives.
Yeah.
Because they're just doing that for hits. Because again, when Trump lost, you saw their engagements go down. So they have to go and be extra extreme now. Especially, they showed me a whole lot with Tyree Nichols. They showed me a whole lot. Because y'all saw black men get beat on film and y'all still defending them cops. You can't, even white folk in your comment thread say, nah, we can't even get down with that. Like, he might have done something wrong, but still, at the end of the day, we can't defend that.
They defended Derek Chauvin when he choked out George Floyd. They defended them two white guys that shot him out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That stuff is disgusting.
Yeah.
All for the bag, all for the grift, all for those hits.
Facts.
But some of them ain't even getting no bag.
So check this out. Check this out, right? So remember, like, when the whole Brexit thing happened, and it was like around the time when Trump was like, well, black people should vote for me because why not, give it a shot. What did he say? What do you got to lose, right?
What do you got to lose? Yeah.
So that's when there was a lot of, like, what Kid Gravity is saying, like, YouTube, quote unquote, conservatives going with this message of, Brexit and quote unquote getting off the Democrat plantation, right? So if that was the conservative outreach to quote unquote black people, my question is, how effective has that been? How many black people have black conservative flipped? And if black conservatives haven't flipped anybody, my question is, why are these people still getting a paycheck? And what's going on there?
I'm glad you asked that question. First of all, when Trump said that, I talked to him about it, and what he said to Trump, what he was saying was, give me a shot. Give me a shot. Give anybody else a shot, give me a shot.
That's how I took it.
Shot. But here's the thing, and this is when Candace Owens and I fell out, and it happened at the White House. She would have a Brexit meeting, and here's how some of these guys are suckers, because Brandon Tatum even called asking me for a job before, because he was disillusioned with her.
Don't tell that lie. That's info that I need. Don't tell that lie. No. I need that info. Don't tell that lie. I could do a whole stream on that. No. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I got
to do a Twitter beef before. And I said, Negro, don't let me start talking about when you called me up asking me for a job to work with my Urban Revitalization Coalition because you was disillusioned with Candace. Don't get me to talking. Because what it was, Candace would have these meetings. And she would come back and say, I had 800 people at the Brexit meeting, but only 10 of them would be black. Her crowds would be all white. And she got upset because we outed her in the White House one time. We were up there for a meeting and she was there. And she started talking about how many people were there. And I said, man, you'll have a meeting with 800 people in there and 790 of them is white. So stop with this stuff. And so here's what I told her. I said, unless you have a voter's registration component to it and you can track your effectiveness, then you're just blowing smoke up everybody's behind. Then I even challenged her. I said, because me being a pastor in a church, we have what we call testimonies. You guys know about that. Mm-hmm. Like if we have a revival, we can tell you how many people got saved. And we can have these people that got saved stand up and say, I once was lost, but now I'm fine, was blind, but now I see. I gave my life to the Lord. I said, produce me 5 people. All I want is 5 that will say I was a registered Democrat. And I heard the message of Brexit. And because of Brexit, I became a registered Republican. Show me 5 people. They can't. That stuff was fake from the get-go. It's fake from the get-go.
Here's my question. So what can y'all, just for lack of a better term, the real black conservatives, when are y'all going to call out them people? Because I know you said you've done it and I've seen those videos.
Go back. You can look and see. She blocked me.
No, I'm not saying you, but I'm saying people that are like you that are actually conservative. When are y'all gonna call them out and say they don't represent us? Because when you hear the term black conservative, her name pops up first. Tatum's name pops up first. All the people that Fox News loves to call up, or CNN or MSNBC like to disrespect. When I think that's where y'all's message gets diluted because they think that y'all think like them, so people don't take y'all serious. But when is it y'all gonna stand as a group on a podium or on a Twitter space or something and say, listen, them kind of conservatives, those belong to the white folks. The real conservatives, we are for what y'all down here need. Y'all need reparations. We there for you. When can that happen? I think that should happen before January 1st.
There are a few others. Sonny Johnson will speak out.
Yeah.
Alicia Killing will speak out.
Angela Stanton will speak out.
Excuse me?
So Angela Stanton, sometimes she'll speak out.
Yeah, Angela's a real one. She's a real one. But to be quite honest, they're not going to do it, man. It's going to be hard. Let me tell you something. People vote their pocket. Appeal. You want the black vote? Appeal to the black pocket. Have policy in place that can empower us. We ain't asking for no handout, but we want what everybody else is getting. You subsidized farmers. They see when they get money to white folks, they call it subsidy. They get money to black people, they call it welfare.
Yeah, that's why we're going so hard on reparations, because like we always say, you gave it to everybody else. You can easily just give it to us and the conversation is over.
Thank you. But so if we can come with a cohesive economic plan to empower black Americans, let us have access to capital. We just want the same access to capital that the white folks have. I know a guy in Palm Beach. He blew $200 million of other people's money on speculative venture stuff. And it was just like, okay, no big deal. Well, they want us to jump up and down the clock because we got a home loan with a high interest rate. We just want the same access to capital everybody else gets. You know how many banks there are in America? There are over 5,000 banks in America. You know how many black banks are in America?
Less than
right
10.
now.
Like less than 10.
You know how many black banks are in America? 19.
Less than 20.
I got a question for you, Pastor.
They want to tell us we got access to capital. No, we don't. So they got to level that economic playing field. We ain't asking. We ain't even asking for a hand up or a handout. We want the same hand everybody else gets. That's all we want.
Here goes my question for you, Pastor. Do you think that black conservatives with a similar mind state to yours would be opposed to a long-term plan of conservatives doing business with black grassroots people in order to generate a political fund?
We need to.
Because the thing is that because I believe that the probability of us being able to force the hand of the people who would be making the decision on reparations, that we would have a higher probability if we had a large financial stick to wave. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. I'm in total agreement with that. And they also say things like, well, blacks are not a monolith. Well, we need to become one. We need to be monolithic once again and leverage our vote. To be quite honest, you ain't winning no elections without black people these days. Well, not many. We need to leverage that voting power we have and not just be so to either party on either side, and look at what policy left them the same way the evangelical vote is being courted because they recognize the power they have as a voting bloc. We need to recognize that power as well. I had an argument with on television with a conservative friend of mine because I was telling them about, they're not approaching black people white. And they said, well, we don't want to pander. I said, how come when you go after any other group, it's outreach?
See, you already doing better. You already doing better over here. You ain't arguing with nobody.
But if you come to black people, it's pandering. Skip.
You hear me, Pastor? I said you already doing better over here. You ain't arguing with nobody.
Right. That's why I keep telling them, listen, I get that we crack on y'all, but just have a conversation. We ain't gonna come up in here and yell on you. I told Candace Owens on many occasions, just come here and talk to me. I ain't gonna yell at you. I ain't gonna call you out your name. I just got some questions. I want to see where your head is at.
Those questions, because she fake. But I mean, come on, man. I ain't gonna go there. But they do what they feel they need to do. You understand what I'm saying? For whatever they can. I can't lay my head on my pillow at night thinking I done coon that day.
Right.
And I'm gonna be honest. To be quite honest, myself and my business partner Kareem Lanier, I was probably being overly aggressive when I was at the White House, but I had to do it just to make sure I wasn't being coony. So I was being overly aggressive to have the
Right, we're overly aggressive.
These folks know, don't mess with me.
Yeah. So somebody in the chat asked, what do you call it when they give money to illegals?
I don't like that. I don't like that.
No, but they're saying, what's the term for it?
Stealing. Stealing. That's what it's called.
Yeah, because we call it stealing our tax money, but they're like, oh, we're helping disenfranchised people. I'm like, you got a whole race that's disenfranchised in this country that y'all don't want to help.
And man, let me tell you something. I'm still black, right? And I'm like, if the black mindset is, hey man, you giving them some money, then God gonna give us some money. Now I can remember 40 years ago, I was working at a job, and I started working this job, and the guy came in about a month after me, a white dude, and I found out he was making a quarter an hour more than me, which was $10 a week after 40 hours. I raised hell around there. I will burn this whole thing down. Y'all better make this right, because he was getting 25 cents an hour more than I was getting, and I raised hell. And that's just how we are. So if you're giving them money, you can give us money. Now, the one
it's not like y'all broke.
I will say this: Joe has played us. Joe ain't gave black folks nothing. Joe ain't did. So I don't understand the blind support for him.
I said,
you know what it was?
Time.
You know what it was? It was the student loan stuff. That's what it really was. Because I talked to a lot of black folks. They said the only reason they voted for him was because he said he was going to cancel student loan debt. I was like, where was his plan?
You know what else though, man? The Joe and the Democrats are smart enough to do. Sometimes all you want, man, is some empathy. You want
somebody to say sorry to you.
It's some empathy. And that's the one thing that the Republican Party has not been, was empathetic. I ain't even asking for sympathy. We're just asking for empathy as a fellow human being. And they don't even want to be empathetic in a lot of cases.
What was we just talking about with Matt Walsh, y'all?
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. It's time for people to start examining the possibility of the incapability of these people to actually be able to be like that and actually adjust to that, whether it's us forcing the hand or not.
Like I said, yo, I said all the time. I said, y'all gave Joe Biden the booty on promises, and now he won't return your phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened.
Which made no sense.
Prom night politics.
I get it. He's selling you student loan debt. I get it. What was the simple question of somebody asking, how do you plan to accomplish that?
Yeah. And he wasn't able to come to. And remember, what about all of us who weren't college students, who don't have student loans?
Right. I told people that I'm not paying for no college student to go to school for free.
He wasn't just canceling student loans for black people.
Right. There's everybody.
Everybody.
Right. Which means white folk get more generational wealth because that's gone.
Thank you.
Well, and that's the Democratic grift too. As long as you always have us in the bottom of all of these disparity categories, they can always package a program and say this and lead the program with us and then distribute it to the rest of everybody else, which is one of the reasons I got a whole different program, but I'm gonna just end on that. That's what they do.
Yeah, that's why I said this Ukraine war is not as successful as they thought it was going to be because we don't care about it. We weren't outside for it. You didn't see us out there protesting for Ukraine. We were like, listen, that's great. Guess what? We got problems here, folks. And number one is you got to cut the check. Let's go.
Hey, you know what the Bible says?
What does it say?
Money answereth all things.
There you go. And now look, now your man, they sitting there struggling over a debt ceiling. They just fixed it.
Yeah, they just fixed
it. And the Senate might not even pass it.
Right.
They'll pass it. They better.
But hey, guess what? Y'all still got the money. Cut the check. Let's go.
Yeah, they have to fix that. They don't want America to go into default because it'll be hypocritical to do that.
Well, can't they just blame Trump?
And that's what it is. You know, to be quite honest, the American public is getting played in a lot of respects. I saw this I'll give an example. I would be on CNN sometime and banging it out with these guys, going hard, tooth and nail. And so we would be finished with the set and be back in the green room, and I'm still in dog mode.
Yeah, you be wanting to take somebody's head off.
Camera fronting, going out to get drinks together.
I'm about to say that.
Now that these cameras off, I'm ready to go upside this nigga's head in here.
Wait a minute. You and Pastor,
we back
you in dog mode? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I do not believe it.
This is bullcrap.
But here's the thing too, and I think people they still underestimating the black vote. I know, I get it. It's a great talking point to say we vote 90% Democrat. I don't know when the last time. I don't know if y'all didn't see the last 3 elections, but okay, that's fine. Whatever. I guess we round up in America. Fine, whatever. Do y'all understand that black folks are the main reason why Stacey Abrams didn't get in, even though they don't want to admit this?
Yeah, I talked about that.
We were the main ones saying
Beyonce and LeBron knocking on doors, and they knew better. They said, "No, no, thank you."
We all black right here, right?
Right. Yeah.
I know I'm gonna say what I'm about to say is the truth. It is sad.
What's that?
If she was fine, she would have got in.
There you go. There you go. If she didn't come off, she didn't come off like the L word, she would probably have won.
They'd have voted for her.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, that's why. But that was my thing. I said Stacey would have had the election in the bag if she just would have said, "I'm for reparations." She'd have had the bag. That's why I also said Trump. He got to come outside and have a firm stance on reparations. That's gonna make or break his campaign. If he says yes, he can fracture the Democratic vote. He could get it under 70%. Yeah. If he says no, he gonna have a uphill climb because we're not gonna go outside for this man.
He got to deliver on it, though. He got to deliver on it.
Well, here's the thing: he can't run from it because he came out with the platinum plan and he based it off of Ice Cube. He can't run from it.
But the thing about
we're gonna ask him. We're gonna be like, "You're not for reparations. So why did you go? Why did you waste that black man's time? Why did you come out with the platinum plan?"
No, he's not gonna run from it. I talk to Trump all the time. I talk to him at least once a week, sometimes 2-3 times a week. And
tell him to come on the stream.
He and I have the type of relationship that we were friends first. So I have a relationship with him that I can probably say things to him and we say to each other and talk about stuff that he don't talk about with a lot of other people. I'll put it this way. But that is going to be his main thrust for the black community's economic access to capital and economic empowerment. He's going to roll out.
Do you think he would stand for cash payments? Do you think he would stand for it or no?
You remember that time we did a cash payment and they called me and said I was trying to buy votes. The black people did. You know what's sad? You can look it up. We had an event right around Christmas, and every Christmas I would have people that want to donate toys and different things. And I said, man, black people want money to go buy their own stuff. We don't want just used toys and stuff. And so I had donors that gave us $50,000. We had an event, mostly Democratic black people there, and we put all these people filled out cards. We put them in a barrel, a lottery barrel, and let people come up on stage and pull names out. The lowest prize we gave out was $300 cash, all the way up to $1,000. We had like 100 people. You know how much criticism we got from that? From black people? Black people criticized it. It was. I'll tell you when it was. December 2019. And they said he trying to buy votes. I said, how the hell? First of all, to buy votes, somebody had to be selling the vote. Who the hell is selling a vote for $300? I said, that's number one. Number two, the election is a year from now. We're just trying to help some folks for Christmas. And let me tell you something. On your birthday, you rather get a present or some money?
I want some money. I'm an adult. I need money.
I got bills.
And all the criticism came from black people. Said we was trying to buy votes. My people perished for lack of, and all we were trying to do was help some people. Now, the people that were there that got the money, it was great. They were appreciative of it. We had one lady that her name got pulled for $1,000. She came up there on a walker. She said, I wasn't going to come today. And something told me to come. I caught the bus down here and her name got pulled. We gave her $1,000 cash. We gave away all the money cash and all we got was criticism for it.
But remember, these are the same people. These are the same people that criticize Steve Harvey and Ray Lewis and Kanye for going to go speak with Trump at Trump Tower right after he got elected, calling them coons when they was going up there on their behalf
to get money for the black community.
Right, but it's not a criticism when they gave that City Bike Karen and Daniel Penny $1.5 million collectively.
See,
and by the way, DeSantis helped Penny out. How is that not buying votes before he even announced that he was going to run?
Now, I know DeSantis, right? You want to hear the funny story about how I know DeSantis?
Uh-oh.
When we had the opportunity zones, when the opportunity zones first rolled out, we were going around in the black community in different areas to espouse the opportunity zones and try to encourage black people to create opportunity funds and do some opportunity zone projects in the black community. So we went to Tallahassee, Florida. We went to Florida State University, which you know what that is. That's down in Tallahassee.
Mm-hmm.
Black Democrat leaders, State Representative Kim Daniels was part of it. Brandon Gruber was part of it. A number of black Democrats were in the room so we can talk to them about how to create these opportunity funds to help the oppressed neighborhoods. So we invited DeSantis to come. He agreed to come. We have the governor staying there. I took 2 people from the White House with me. I took a guy from the Treasury Department with us. So the event started at 7 o'clock. Now, we all know if a black event started at 7 o'clock, the black folks will be there by 7:30.
Right.
7:38 o'clock, yeah.
So DeSantis comes he gets there at 6:30. So he looks around and they see that around 6:30, 6:40, we had maybe 40, 45 people in the room. And his girl made up some crap and excuse and they left. By 7:30, it's 1,000 people there. I still got the video. I got the pictures. It's 1,000 people there by 7:30. The room is full. We're looking around. Where's the governor? Oh, something came up and he had to leave. So I had to sit there and make an excuse for the governor. So the next day we called this girl up and cussed her butt out hard as you could cuss somebody out. Cussed her out so bad, she called up DeSantis' chief of staff. And we cussed this butt out so bad, he called up DeSantis. And we cussed this butt out so god doggone bad, he called the CEO of Disney, who's a friend of mine, Marvel Entertainment CEO, multi-billionaire, Ike Perlmutter. He called up Ike on me to call me. And I have cussed Ike out, but me and Ike are friends. And Ike got DeSantis on and made him apologize for not being there. And then you ever cuss somebody out so bad y'all became friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, y'all bang it out one day and then that's your best friend for 20 years.
Checked him hard. We checked him hard. And here's the part that got me. He sat there and took it. I wish I would let somebody cuss me out on the phone like that. And all I gotta do is
he knew his ass was wrong.
Right. But see, this is the kind of conversations we need because again, they don't want to pull these conversations out there because again, people have their already perceived notions of what each party is. But see, conversations like this is what I was stressing 3 years ago. These kind of conversations could have made all the difference.
Yeah, I agree.
They're tap dancing. We ain't up there tap dancing and shining shoes. Ain't nobody doing that. I don't roll like that. Anybody that know me know I'm black or white. No, I don't roll like that. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I scared a lot of people off. And if I'd have sold out, I could have got paid. But I can't sell out, man. I never got a dime from Donald Trump or the Republican Party. Never, not one dime from none of them. And so I'm a free man. I can say what I want to say, and if they don't like it, I can tell them to kiss my ass.
Yeah. But that's the one thing I need from you, Pastor. I need you to find out how Trump feels about this reparations. I'm telling you, if he stands with us, he's gonna win. I'm telling you, he can landslide it. I'm telling you.
I talk to him. I call him.
And it's got to be firm. He can't wish wash or say like I understand he needs an incentive out of it. Besides fracturing the Democratic vote, so he could say he was the president that finally defeated the Democrats because he's a big picture guy, so he wants to be the president to basically make
tell him the YouTube 5 want to talk to him.
Right, but we need that firm thing because again, our people are not going to go to the polls in 2024 unless there's tangibles that we can get the first day.
There's a scripture in the Bible that says, what profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his soul? I'm going to put it this way. He's got to craft the argument in such a way that he doesn't lose support, even as he gains support. I don't want to gain.
He's got to talk to Marcel Dixon, because Marcel Dixon talked to MAGA and they got it. They understood it, because he walked in that room and they did not want to hear him talk about reparations. By the time he left, he had to stay in ovation. He's got to talk to that man.
Who are you saying?
Marcel Dixon out of South Carolina. He's running against Clyburn next year.
Okay.
Trump got to talk to that man.
Yeah.
I think, and that would help also with us with the black grassroots, because Marcel don't play either. He like you. He a bulldog with it. He'll go in there with the documents, with the history, and show Trump, you do reparations because of what happened to y'all that are Black American descendants of slavery, and how reparations can get us out of this. I think he could get on board with it. I think Trump is the kind of person, I'm sure you'll agree, he needs to see the numbers.
Let me tell you,
he needs to see the profit. There is a profit in making reparations. 99% for Black folks.
If you look back over, you can go back years on my social media. Y'all never saw me going hard for the Republican Party. I always went hard for Trump.
Right.
Well,
they always called you a Trump supporter.
Because me and him been friends for about 12 years. And I like the dude because he remind me of me. And so he and I have been friends of riding down. Hey man, let me tell you something. You told me right now, because we've made this connection, you told me right now I'm running for mayor or governor or senator in my state. Hey man, I'm rolling with you. Because that's how Black folks are. We roll with our boys, we ride or die. Y'all ain't never seen me going hard for the party. In fact, all y'all see me doing is criticizing the party. I roll with him. And me and him are friends. I roll with him. He roll with me. And it is what it is. But the rest of the party, it needs some work. It needs some work.
Right. And that's why I said when they lost, they should have revamped the party, but they didn't want to do it. Because we know if the Democrats lost, they would have revamped the party.
They didn't revamp it when Hillary lost.
Right, but I think they saw the money on just keep saying Trump's name and cracking Trump, because they knew 2018 was coming. So they said if we could take the House, we good. Nothing gonna pass. And then 2020, we get him out and get the Senate. We can do whatever we want. And here we are. The first 2 years, they haven't done anything for Black folks. And now we have the disillusion now. And now that we're saying we gonna leave these Democrats, we gonna crash these votes. Now they want to act like they love us.
I would have went a little harder for us.
What's that?
The Black caucus is pretty quiet as well.
Well, we've rendered them mute. They not for us. They for the Africans and the Caribbeans. They not for the Black American descendants of slavery. They've already proved that.
Marsha Fudge, she's over HUD now. She's for the Black folks. She's doing stuff. She's just not loud with it. But Marsha Fudge is actually doing a way better job than Ben Carson ever did. And Marsha's a friend of mine. Her and I go back decades. And I've got a lot of friends over on that side. Like I tell you, I've got awards from the NAACP. I've got awards from the SCLC. And so I've got a lot of, and I didn't alienate myself from them simply because I was rolling with Trump.
Right.
And so we can work together across party lines and get some stuff done. If, like you say, we get some more conservatives, then I'm afraid of what white folks gonna say if they side with Black folks.
Well, and I think another thing that we don't do that is always done to us, and I really advocate for us doing things to other people that have been done to us. You know what I'm saying? One thing that we don't do is we don't do the quote unquote fear campaign. And I think that we should. There's a lot of things that white conservatives, that the population in general, moderates, there are things that people are terrified of losing right now. People are terrified of the quote unquote, talking about the rainbow agenda in schools. You know what I'm saying? People are terrified of losing their Second Amendment rights. And I think that one thing, that we could do that would be pretty villainous and pretty cool is if we position ourselves and say, well, you can say all of this, but there's only one way that you can guarantee to make sure that these things that you don't want to happen don't happen. Because if you take a look at the quote unquote agenda, that was a bipartisan thing that happened as far as Democrats and Republicans signing that bill to make the LGBTQ marriages possible and the abortions and all of those different things. So here's the deal. You know what I'm saying? We can make inroads here with this check getting cut, and you can guarantee you everything that you fear, except for us not being a bottom class here in the United States. That's just something that you're going to have to give up. You're just going to have to trust us on that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Aside from that, you'll be able to get everything that you want politically. You'll have whatever presidency, you will have these policies that we'll support, and it'll always be guaranteed because it'll always be your majority vote plus, 5 or 10% of 13%. Now, if you go against us, we can't guarantee you anything, and you won't get that guaranteed block. This is like that, what you were talking about, like the whole powernomics block voting type thing, Pastor. But just, spinning it with a little bit of fear, because that's what they do, is use the fear. You know what I'm saying? You got to have this woman go to a school board meeting and, oh my God, my child learned about gender identity. You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, oh my God, guess what? Your child might learn even more about surgeries and hormones if you don't do what we need you to, and we can reciprocate with this vote.
Listen, I'm going to have to go, but I'm going to say this, and I'm make y'all a promise, and we're going to stay in touch.
Yeah. I do have one other question before you leave. It's not going to take long.
I'm going to take a contingent of black people with me down to Mar-a-Lago to sit down with President Trump, going to chart the campaign and have some serious discussion in the room about certain things, such as what you're saying, so we can have a conversation. And I'm going to invite you guys to go with me.
I got 3 names that you need, that they have to be on the list: Jason Black, Tariq Nasheed, and Dr. Claude Anderson. Them 3 got to be on it. I've
had conversation with him during the prior 4 years. We've had conversation.
Yeah, those 3 brothers got to go.
I'll be able to take who I want down there, and we'll have a sit down. We have one where we just haven't scheduled the exact date yet. Knows the campaign hasn't went out in full swing yet, but we're going to have this conversation. I want to invite you guys to go with me, have this conversation, and you're going to be pleasantly surprised at the response you get. I guarantee.
Yeah, because honestly, I'm going to send you a list, because I need you to start sending your black conservative friends new black media. So I'm going to send you a list of channels to send them.
You're going to be surprised at the reception that you get. It's not what you think it is over there. It's not a bunch of
I know. Yeah, Marcel opened that door for us, because he showed that whole video of his speech there, and again, he said that they were coming in there, they didn't even want to listen to what he said. They already had their mind made up. But again, he showed them the numbers and explained everything in terms that they could understand. And he had a standing ovation when it was done. And he got people to say, whatever help you need, let us know.
Yeah.
So that's how we got to do it.
Yeah.
And the Hotep's already staying with you anyway.
Hotep's. All right, man. Look, I got to go plus my
yes, sir.
Dead anyway.
But it was great talking to you, Pastor. You're cool dude,
so I'm going to send over that list in like 20 minutes.
Stuff like that, and we'll stay in touch.
Yes, sir. I'm going to send you that list in your direct messages in 20 minutes.
All right, God bless.
All right, God bless you. So let me get this right. So I'm scared to talk to people, right?
Who said that?
People said, listen, I tag people all the time. I tell y'all, come up here and, because when I do my videos on my live streams, I could get animated. Y'all know this. I might call you names. Now again, with Pastor, I didn't like how he handled the Dinesh situation, and he did that too much off of anger. And I said, okay, I'm not even going to torch him. We're gonna make this a teaching lesson. He came up, we talked for almost an hour and a half. Did y'all hear me yell at him one time?
Not at all. I thought it was.
I just let him talk. Now, if he said something I disagreed with, I would have popped in. I disagreed with him when he said that there's not enough conservatives out there talking. Y'all not. I get that you're calling out Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens. That's great. We need more voices like that. But you got to galvanize your side too, brother.
Right.
That's the only way we're gonna get out of this. That's the only way we're gonna get out of this.
Look at this. I agree with you on that. I 100% agree with you on that. The optics
right here. Somebody on the white side gonna pull this up.
Oh, of course.
Oh, former radical Trump supporters talking with little YouTubers. There's a black YouTube. Is this the new rise of black nationalism on the internet?
Oh yeah, New York Post to have a nice.
We're gonna be black nationalists when it's all said and done. When this is over.
But you're right though. They have to they got to come together, right?
Right.
You know, separately they get shunned, right? Sonny Johnson, right? After she did her epic rant at CPAC, they ain't trying to have her back. After she went on that rant at the White House, they ain't trying to have her back. You know what I mean? Jeff Charles, he calls it straight down the middle. Marsh, you know what I mean? They don't want those voices.
Right.
But if they can all come together, form Voltron, you know what I mean? It could do wonders.
Right. That's why I said 3 years ago, conservatives get down here
and stop all the infighting.
That's what I'm saying.
Like it's a lot of infighting where everybody trying to be.
You know what? Actually, Cannon, I'm gonna disagree with you. I like that. Cause we're gonna see who's the strong. Only the strongest survive. Candace don't believe anything she says. She don't. She does not believe anything she says. That's why it'd be easy for me to have a conversation with her. I would get her to turn right, just like we had this conversation. Yeah. I would get her to turn by the time it was over.
We have lots of viral clips from that conversation.
That's what I'm saying. and then she gonna get mad at me. She'll be like, now they think I'm a grifter. I'm like, man, that was your identity though.
I mean, you are.
I'm just brought you to the light, baby. Now now your people from Virgin Islands go get their money from the Dutch. Go ahead.
But it's another thing, like we got to start putting money. We got to start backing on politicians, right? If we want a new party, we need to start it. We got to start putting that money.
Marcel, like I said, we can't donate to Marcel. He's the one. He's the one right now. He's the only one we got right now. Putting your money on that man. I did it. People down here, New Black Media done it. It's gotta take everybody. That man did an NBA Finals commercial last year. It's not that hard. $5 a week, it will help him. If 1,000, he got what is it, like over 30,000 people on Twitter. If he got 10% of that, everybody get $5 a week, he'd be good.
Absolutely.
But people just want to talk. It's not okay. It's easy for me to be like, yo, Marcel, come on here and talk for an hour and a half on what you've been doing lately. Okay, that's great. He need money. Just like the pastor said, everything gonna take money. That's how the government works. That's why I said, that's why I told him, Pastor, you want to move on this reparations? Get Trump to talk to Marcel. The optics alone, even if they don't agree, the optics alone would make everybody talk to him. He was just on Fox News. Fox News would have him back. MSNBC would finally talk to him. CNN would be like, come down to Atlanta and come talk to us. He'd get in those circles. Hell, he could stream it on True Social.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, like, we see how it happens here in local government, right? For example, the last 4 Baltimore mayors funded by developers. So they was in the developers' pockets, not doing anything for the people of Baltimore City. Now, could you imagine if the people of Baltimore City came together and funded their own politician?
Facts.
Somebody beholding it to them? You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting. I think 2024 is going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting race.
It's going to be interesting because I'm telling you, we're going to dominate it. I'm telling you.
And you know that neither side want to have that reparations talk.
Facts.
They don't, but guess what? We made it. The day it went viral is the day they couldn't run from it anymore.
The only way it's going to get talked about is one of the politicians, one of the runners are going to have to force the conversation.
Yeah,
you know it's going to end up on the debate stage. You know it's going to be on the debate stage. The Republicans, what they're going to do is they're going to skip the first one. They're not going to say it in the first one. They're going to wait to see who gets out first, and then they're going to be like, damn, we're going to have to talk about this.
Yeah. Well, you know, because the Democrats they're not even debating.
Yeah, there's that.
Well, we know they're not. They don't want to have that conversation because, again, that would force them to admit that they benefited off Black suffering. And they can't have that.
Well, and I think that they're not debating because of Joe Biden's cognitive status.
That too.
No way possible. He's going to be in the basement again.
Right. Or he might fall up the stairs, you know.
Matter of fact, what HJ say, all Dems must pay.
No, everybody in the party's got to pay. Both parties got to pay.
But that's how you get the Republicans behind it. When you say all Dems must pay, that's when the Republicans jump behind it. Like, yeah, they get behind that slogan. You know what I mean? Now you got them talking about reparations.
But that's a scary proposition because then again, they can play. Oh well, this was about the Democrats. This ain't about y'all. But like, no, you want this vote? You got to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
You better get outside, sir. We're not playing no more.
They not canvassing. They not going to knock on doors.
And that's the problem.
That's the problem.
And Sonny's said this as well. Y'all got to go in these neighborhoods. It's not hard to have y'all love spending money, Republicans. Y'all love spending money. What's wrong with having y'all go up to black businesses and say, hey, you selling stuff, come outside. We got a tent for you.
Well, here's another thing too. like what has been the only effective political means to getting legislation that black people have ever done in the United States? If you ask me, the answer to that is boycott.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like when we have boycotted things have happened. Now, I don't know
but
go ahead.
You got to have a real boycott, though. Like I said,
right?
But here's the thing: we did have a real boycott. See, a lot of people again, they didn't pick up on it. See, when we talk, they don't want to listen unless it's something to be divisive or they could use. We did the boycott last November, and they didn't even realize it.
Right, and
we got politicians out the paint.
Well, and another thing is, I think we need to start having a cascading boycott. First, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the whole no tangibles, no vote thing. Second, if you don't want to give us reparations, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start boycotting our local and state economies. And the next step is going to be to boycott the federal economy, because it justifiably, if you don't want to provide us with restitution for the terror during the war that you committed against us, then we have to repair ourselves one way or another. And if that's extracting the money from the economy, then that's just what we'll have to do. And the thing is that we could do this at any time. Right now would be a really inopportune time with the debt ceiling, you know what I'm saying? Everything going on with China and all of that. That is not something that the United States wants, is one of its highest spending segments of the economy, just completely creating a vacuum.
And think about it, Democrats. Your man Biden had 2 State of the Unions. Am I correct? He's done 2.
I only think he had 1. I think he only had 1.
Didn't he do one this year?
No, I don't think that was a State of the Union.
Well, whatever.
I did.
He spoke to the nation twice.
I live streamed.
No, I think he did do it because I live streamed it the next day. Yeah, he did 2.
Was it 2?
Yeah, because he skipped 2021 because of the Yamin. He skipped it, and then I think they did one last year, and then I think they did one in 2023. But whatever, 1 or 2, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right.
He said he said not move much on reparations. Don't expect too much. But he was willing to talk about LGBT and Asians and what they need to do to elevate them.
Look, this is how I look at it. You got all that money for Ukraine. You can give us that money too.
No, but see, here's the grift they're gonna pull. That's why they didn't want to debate him, because he was gonna say, yeah, but Ukraine, it was important, but we didn't give them money. We gave them equipment. It was the media that put a dollar value on it. That's how they're going to try to worm their way out of it. We can't let them get away with that.
Yeah, no, you can't, because,
And yes, Jay. Yeah, Marcel talked to Fox News Digital. It's on his page. I don't know if it's the full interviews on his page. It might be, but yeah, he talked to Fox News Digital, and he talked about reparations, and then he got pissed off. They were trying to twist his words around.
Of course, because it's still mainstream media. I don't know why people.
That's why I told
exactly
media. Why, right? And that's why I told the pastor, Trump got to talk to Marcel. But even again, it helps them both ways, because he can convince him about reparations, but off top, he's running against Clyburn. You just talked with your opponent. All right, Rob, peace. You just talked with your opponent to a former president, and he actually brought up reparations when your man over there said, y'all not getting it. And even Marcel has admitted he went through the neighborhoods in his district and talked about reparations and got the people on board. Now you just heard Trump say the word reparations. That means he's thinking about it now. Now you might have just turned that district blue, from blue to red.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's what happens when you get out there and you get dirty. You
Exactly.
get down there, you know.
And you didn't even have to assault the man one time.
Nope.
That's
not
why,
at all.
and that goes to my overarching theme of this show. The optics would have been crazy. Politics is optics. It's literally in there. Optic. Take a couple of them letters. It's optic.
Yeah.
But
You're right though.
They don't want to listen, but okay. I guess we're gonna be knocking off more politicians next year. Because guess what? AOC, the squad might die next year because your district ain't happy with you, ma'am. They not gonna vote for you again. You're not helping New York City. New York, I might say it might go red. That's 29 votes, 28 votes. That could be a swing state. Who would have thought to hear New York, a staunchly blue state, be a swing state?
Yo, your boy Black Light, his thumbnails is fire.
Oh no, that man be on it. He been doing it for years. That man be on it. But that's why I say y'all gotta have a conversation. I think if you go down to his realm, y'all have a conversation. You stream it to your channel, you got a conversation.
Yeah, we can do a dual stream. Shoot,
there you go. But that's what it is, folks. See, I ain't afraid to pull up on nobody. Yeah, hey, Donald, come down here. I don't bite.
Conversation.
I will prep you for Jason Black because you ain't got you might not have a chance with that brother, but I'll prep you, sir. Come down here. I'm telling you, the fact that if he talks to Jason Black or Tariq, it's over. Y'all can't say nothing to the Black grassroots ever again in life.
Yeah, you can't.
That culture war is over.
It's over, especially if he talks to them and he takes some shit away from that.
Exactly. All you got to say is, bruh, how do you feel about reparations? I came out with the platinum plan. I'm willing to revisit it. Can we get that as a firm confirmation? We could play that all day. He can't run from it.
Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Tariq, but when it comes to that conversation, he's the right person to have in the room for that.
Exactly. That's why I say he need to go to Mar-a-Lago. Now, I don't know if he'll go, but it would look crazy for him to be in that room. Mm-hmm. It would look crazy to have Jason Black in that room. It would look crazy to have Ice Cube and Dr. Claude in that room. It would look crazy. They'd be like, them Negroes are serious.
Yeah, I'm just shocked that they don't listen to a Dr. Claude Anderson. I've been listening to Dr. Claude Anderson since
because Dr. Claude Anderson been calling out white folks for decades. They don't like that.
I think I got a book by him.
Yeah, but I gotta go too. I gotta get something to eat. I ain't eat all day. That was fun, Bloods. Yo, Dinesh, I tweeted out. I said, Dinesh, if Dr. Scott pulled up, you better pull up. He don't want to pull up. You're punk. You're punk. It's all good though. But so
they see it. They act like they don't see it. They see it.
I don't know. Do you think they look at all these tweets when they get notifications? I don't think they get all these tweets.
If they don't, they see their name pop. I think a lot of them they look to see if they're in the news or if they're being talked about across social media. You know what I mean? That's just me. I know that I've heard my talking. I've heard my takes on mainstream media before. You know what I mean? I'm the one that broke the fake, with the Ukraine lady. I'm the one that broke her having the fake AR. Mm-hmm. I'm the one that broke the Daniel defense rifle in that one shooting. Next thing you know, boom, everybody's saying it.
Fact.
You know, they listen. So it'll get to him.
I hope, man, because I'm telling you, we need that. We need that.
You need to clip that.
Oh no! As soon as I download this, I'm taking that whole section out. I'm putting it right back up. It might be up by 6:00.
There you go.
But all right, y'all. They were fun. Something fun. Cut the fucking check already. Ken Hotep, thank you for coming through. Torian, thank you for coming through briefly. Black Light, as always, and shout out to the pastor.
All right, bro.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. No, it's all good, Black Light. I know. I'm enjoying my last day before I gotta go on this new plantation. But yes, it's time, family. That's the kind of conversation we got. We got to press them. We got to press them. These conservatives, they know we out here. They want to ignore us. They can't ignore us no more. We literally just talked with someone for over an hour that was in Trump's White House. Do you know Fox News would kill to have that kind of coverage in an off election year? But, this is what we do here in New Black Media. So if you ever needed to tell somebody why is the New Black Media so important, when I put up the clip of this of the conversation, you play that for him. He worked in Trump's White House and he came and talked to the black grassroots. And all it took was for me to link him to the video. That's all it took. And to send him the StreamYard link. And we had a conversation. Now, again, I'm sure everybody in the room didn't agree with everything he says, but we're not going to agree on everything. But simple fact is, based on the tweets I've seen, and what he said here, he's willing to talk about reparations. And he's willing to get the movers and shakers to talk about it. That's what we need. Exactly, Carla. The same thing Andrew Yang did. We need a person here to do it. Can't always fall on Marcel. Shout out to that brother. When he gets into Congress, just like George Floyd, he will get a statue. There will be a statue of Marcel with the hat or a bust in every black community. There should be one. Especially when y'all get y'all reparations. He's got to have one. I ain't gonna go as far as put him on Mount Rushmore. He might not want that. Maybe we'll do it in Stone Mountain Park. We'll see. He like Atlanta. But the overall theme is optics. Optics. Black conservatives, you can't be afraid to have a conversation with us. We're in the same boat. We go through the same struggles. Just don't think because you got some notoriety and some money in your bank account, we all go through the same thing. I appreciate that he's brought celebrities to the White House and Mar-a-Lago. I appreciate that. That's not enough. That's why I said when Trump ran, he's got to come talk in black cities. He can't be going. Trump, I don't know if you're going to see this. You probably will, because I'm going to send Darrell the clip later. You can't say I'm going to do a rally in Georgia and go to Perry. That you can't do that. Or Valdosta, you can't do that. You got to come to Atlanta. There's nothing for you to say I'm going to have a rally in Centennial Olympic Park. There's Bankhead is literally down the street. It's not a problem. Talk to black folks. We're not gonna yell at you. Now you might have some coons that might disrupt the place, but we're not gonna yell at you. We'd actually want to have an honest conversation and see what kind of time you're on. If you go to New York, what's wrong with you going to Brooklyn? I'm talking about real Brooklyn. What's the problem? You could easily do a Q&A, a set amount of tickets at King's Theater in Flatbush. Literally. You could literally shut down Flatbush Avenue and have a Q&A inside the King's Theater. Chicago, you could have the Chicago Theater and invite people from the West and South Side and have a conversation. A real town hall with black folks. It's not that hard. Hell, bring a black moderator to ask the question. Someone on code. You can find an on-call person in Chicago. You can find an on-call person in New York. You can find an on-call person in Miami. You can find one in Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, LA, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, Detroit, Cleveland, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Kansas City. We're out here. OKC, we're out here. It's not that hard. Denver, Jesse Paris, he's running for mayor. Go have a conversation with him. The optics alone, you talking to black folks, would shift the culture. But, I ain't on your team, so I'm just making a suggestion. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to get up out of here. I appreciate everybody sticking through it. I didn't think it was going to go that long, but it did. But it is what it is. Like I said, starting tomorrow, I'll do the update once I figure out this schedule and what my schedule really going to look like. And that'll influence the uploads and the live streams. So just check out the community tab. Make sure you subscribe. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the Rumble page. Just look up Kid Gravity. I put the link somewhere earlier, but I'll put it again in the I'll pin it in the comment section. But got 17 months, family. 17 months. And you saw how quick the 6 months passed between the midterms and now. It's very quick. But anyway, y'all, take care, stay safe, and you know what to do when the agitators of peace come to mess up your existence.